to the meat and potatoes. The GOAT bracket. The final four. Here we are. Last four of the GOAT bracket. I have been posting on social media all week, trying to get some type of clear-cut answer to this, getting other people's opinions. The final four here, we have Ric Flair versus The Undertaker, and we have The Rock versus Shawn Michaels. I've been getting various answers, various in-depth conversations, people giving me their reasons. I've asked people, hey, who do you got? They simply said one person. I said, what's the reason behind that? I'm getting a whole bunch of different answers from in-ring, persona, ring work, character, everything going in here. This is crazy. It's been a long time coming, trying to get all these going down. I'm trying to get our pictures up. And, of course, we can go into – come on now. There we go. We can get into our first matchup of the Final Four. Ric Flair versus The Undertaker. Ric Flair defeating Rey Mysterio and Roman Reigns. The Undertaker defeating I forgot who was in there. I forgot now. Damn. But he defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, he beat Austin.
He defeated Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin, which is an impressive resume, to say the least here. But, of course, two greats of all time, two legendary characters lasting a lifetime here. What do you guys think about this one? Who are you guys going with?
You can go, Brian.
Nobody wants to go first.
Okay, so let's look at who we're comparing right now. We're comparing a cultural icon who's honestly who's definitely in the top 5 as far as in-ring wrestling goes, in Ric Flair, versus arguably the greatest character ever in wrestling history with The Undertaker. This is definitely a very tough bracket, to say the least. But I'm gonna look at it this way. All right. Who drew more money?
I don't even know. I'm gonna say Ric Flair.
No, I'm gonna say Taker.
I'm gonna say Ric Flair, man.
Yeah, that's it.
Taker. I feel like Taker definitely sold more merch and has been at way more WrestleManias.
Fair enough. Okay.
Now, because I honestly thought Ric Flair was the answer to that question, but okay. So let me think about this again.
Did I just change your mind?
No, because I really thought that Ric Flair had more drawing power compared to the power the Undertaker had.
I don't think the crowds back then were as big as they were at the more recent WrestleManias that Taker's was at.
Yeah, remember, Ric
I can account for inflation.
Inflation.
Yeah. Remember, Ric Flair was the guy in the 80s, where maybe just Sting as the only other like top guy, for him to go against. But Undertaker, in his day, who was with him? You had Bret Hart, you had Shawn Michaels. So and then later on you had the Triple H. He's with Rock. He's with Stone Cold. So was there ever a time where Undertaker was like the guy or considered the guy? There's only one time I can think, and that's when he won the title at I think it was WrestleMania. It was either 12 or 13 when he beat Psycho Sid and they put the title on him.
Yes,
that's the only time I can think of. Like this is like what 90? I don't even remember. 97. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when he
wasn't he the guy when he was the American Badass too?
Yeah, but
he had the title.
Yeah, he had the undisputed title. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he was a champ.
I feel like he was the guy then. Remember when he gave, or was it? Did Jeff Hardy beat him, or did he?
No, he beat Jeff Hardy. He beat the hell out of
Jeff Hardy. He made Jeff Hardy, but he made.
Yeah, basically.
So see, Luz. Now you got me kind of swinging to the other side now.
No, it's tough, but I think that point is a good like way to look at it is like who is the main guy, but it's just like
that's a cop out though. No, that's a cop out.
No, it's not a cop out. No, it's
yeah, we gotta have
maybe, but I mean, yeah, that can't be the only. That can't be the only reason. But same way, like, okay, you can't say, "Oh, Undertaker made more money than Ric Flair." It's literally two different generations. You know, like
that's what I'm saying.
There's more eyes.
If it was box office, then Brock Lesnar and John Cena would still be in the bracket.
Exactly.
Exactly. So, are we still sure about Brock Lesnar? Oh, actually,
blasphemy.
Just sold out Puerto Rico, man. That wasn't Bad Bunny. That was Brock Lesnar. Who was the main event? Who was the main event at Backlash? Just saying.
Said box office. All right.
Who's well? Actually, do you know how many WrestleManias Hulk Hogan headlined?
8 or some shit like that.
Exactly. How many did Brock though?
I think 6. WrestleMania 19, 31, 32, 33. 34.
Oh no, he didn't main event 32. 32 was Triple H and Roman. 33, he had the match with Goldberg. That wasn't the main event. 34, he was the main event against Roman, I think. Yeah.
So he's had like 5 or 6, but he's not there yet. He didn't
doesn't get any credit to be.
No, he doesn't. No. No.
Why?
Because Suplex City is overrated. Yes.
And Hogan isn't. Leg drop.
Hey, look. Lewis. According to Sportskeeda, Hulk Hogan is the number one wrestler of all time.
Sportskeeda, get the fuck out of here.
When I seen that, I was just like, okay, this must be just based on drawing power. This whole list is based on drawing power and money and
Has to be. But no, I'll step in here. Just looking back, I thought about a lot of matches between these two guys of how great they were. Just looking at Ric Flair, his work with Harley Race, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, those early 90 matches, Sting, those early 90 matches. Those matches are legendary at those point in times, especially in WCW's history. I think about Ric Flair when he goes to the WWF, probably one of the best runs ever, has that work with The Undertaker, helping Undertaker beat Hulk Hogan for the title, right? And then he gave it up. And you think about his run there, the 92 Royal Rumble is legendary. Starting at number 1. No, he started at number 3, lasting an hour in the 92 Royal Rumble. That whole thing going back to WCW, battling Vader, battling Hulk Hogan, the 4 Horsemen, the legendary Horsemen. His legendary reign of just as the man. When you saw his promos, you thought Ric Flair was the man. You thought he was it. You thought he was entertainment. You wanted to be Ric Flair as a kid, watching him cut his promos. Jet flying, limousine riding, all of that. Girl stealing, kiss stealing, dealing son of a gun. We all wanted to be that guy. I watch his promos all the time. The woos, of course, passing on. His daughter now, Charlotte Flair, is probably one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. Looking at Ric Flair, we just think about greatness, prestige. Those early matches especially sit with me. You move on to later in his career, those matches that he had with Randy Orton, Tablet Tuesday, Triple H, even at a point in time. He even battled The Undertaker when he first came back to WWE during that time, when he was gave up ownership rights and stuff like that. I still remember that whole matchup and stuff like that. His mentorship throughout Evolution, touching Randy Orton, Batista. It's just longevity in terms of greatness and people that he has touched and bared hands with. Looking on his match at WrestleMania, what was it? In Orlando, Shawn Michaels, his end was supposed to be the end of his career.
24,
should have been
24. WrestleMania 24 should have been the end of his career. The perfect swan song, had his family there, everybody there, and I want to end it right there for Ric Flair. Right, I'm not going to count the TNA, him coming back, and all this other stuff. Right there at WrestleMania 24 is where it stops for me. Having said all that, looking back at The Undertaker and looking at his legendary matches, and I always say this, I'm always going to go back to ring work. And entertainment-wise, showman-wise, Ric Flair is that. There's no question about that. The Undertaker just has a respect factor to him, right? Like the boys in the back respect him. His longevity, his streak, it speaks for itself. You think about the matches with the Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, various matches. The first Hell in a Cell match with HBK, that is legendary. I think about guys that he was able to get over, like Mankind, 96 King of the Ring. He was able to come in and get Mankind over in that type of match, right? Like getting Mankind over the early stages of Mankind, just coming into WWF, was able to get Mankind introduced to a WWE audience. Moving forward, that you think about 98, Kane's introduction, the Inferno match, his history of that, the Brothers of Destruction going all the way through their last match in Saudi Arabia against DX, right? That whole story, the ability to have another brother, a Jace of him, and able to carry that throughout the years, various times, different ways. Championship runs. I even though he lost in this match, I always look back at 97 SummerSlam when he got hit by the chair with Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart winning the championship before that whole rise of the Attitude Era and stuff like that. Throughout the Ministry of Darkness, how crazy that was and all the crazy shit he was doing during that time. I still remember WrestleMania 15 when he hung Boss Man from the Hell in a Cell in the middle of the ring. Like all that crazy shit, trying to sacrifice Austin. Like, as crazy as that shit was, he was the head of that. Just moving on, the American Badass, the ability to change that character when people didn't know how that was going to go in. Seeing how he was able to work with young talent. He worked with Undertaker. He worked with John Cena, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit. He worked with everybody in that realm of who you think, especially those early iterations of SmackDown. Brock Lesnar, I think, comes to mind, to the point where that rivalry was built again even a couple years ago when The Undertaker came back. So I can't talk enough about this guy's career. I don't even know who I'm picking here still. Just thinking about it right now, I thought I had an answer, but it's like looking at that early Ric Flair stage, especially in the 90s and stuff like that, 80s and 90s, those matches with Ricky Dragon Steamboat are some of the best in-ring work, some of the best storytelling. Looking at The Undertaker and what he was able to do with Shawn Michaels, various people, Batista at WrestleMania 23 was a great match. I believe that opened WrestleMania 23. This is tough. This is very, very tough. I still don't know who I'm picking, but if I had to lean with a guy, I'm going to go Ric Flair, just because of those early matches. I feel like people haven't seen those, and I feel like they kind of lose track of what he's done, right? Like, people kind of remember the crazy Ric Flair late 90s, Four Horsemen type of thing when he's in WCW, goes to WWF as the commissioner, and then onward. Triple H's lackey, like, no, he was not that guy. Like, there's a whole path of Flair that people kind of forget of Ric Flair, and I'm just like, I don't know if I can just forget about that early stage, because that early stage is basically built a part of wrestling that is forever, right? Like, and I didn't even talk about, I don't even know who I'm picking still. I'm thinking I'm going to Ric Flair, but it's like the streak of WrestleMania. WrestleMania is the showcase of the Immortals, right? And he carried that streak for a long time. Like, that was a main attraction by itself. Damn, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
All right, so I'll say, I'll say this: as far as having impact between both these guys, Undertaker's impact on the wrestling business, being the most protected character in WWE history. Okay, that's within the business. Ric Flair's impact, not only in wrestling but transcends wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had to pick a guy just based upon that, I would have to go with Ric Flair. When you think about, we can sit. When you look at the previous rounds, the impact that they had on the business was something that was a trait that we valued. So in this case,
Undertaker's impact is massive.
It is massive.
And I know Ric Flair's impact is massive as well. And this is tough because it's crazy to think that Undertaker was literally still wrestling when Flair was still in his prime as well. But obviously Flair had been doing it much longer before. But it's crazy how much time these guys have given to the business. And I don't know, people are gonna argue, and it's more of a preference thing, honestly, because their impact is so. It's like the wrestling Mount Rushmore is literally you have to have these two in it, and to be like, all right, we'll pick one, and it's just like, what do you decipher if not by preference or who you like reside with more? And for me, I mean. I'm leaning more towards Taker, just, all the insane moments he's had. What was synonymous with him for the longest time was him literally throwing Mankind off the Hell in a Cell. It's literally the craziest scene and one of the most iconic things that's ever happened in the match during that time that is still revered till this day and won't ever be replicated if you think about it.
Because nobody's signing up for it.
Exactly. Only Shane will do it.
Do that shit.
Only Shane will do it.
Yeah. He's done.
And then how big the story with him and Kane and just how that continued, and just think of all the matches that have come out just from the Undertaker. I don't know if he created the casket match, but you got Inferno matches, Buried Alive matches,
Hell in a Cell.
Mm-hmm. Hell in a Cell. Like Dan said it, the streak will never be replicated ever again. He's the only person to literally start something and continue in it for more than two decades. More than two decades. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
And yes, Ric Flair has. I mean, I can't knock anything on Ric Flair. Like he's iconic, and he's still going to this day. Kids who never saw any of his '80s matches is still go woo because their favorite rappers are fucking rapping woo. And they're like, what is this? And then they're like, oh, this is who he is. And it's just like, this man is still legendary and iconic till this day. And he's not even right. I mean, yes, he's, I guess, wrestling, but not, I don't know. But for me, I don't know. It's hard. I think I was leaning towards Taker, but Ric Flair's promo work is just so legendary.
Exactly.
It's so hard.
That's what I'm like, because of course when you think about promos, Undertaker has some cool promos and stuff like that. But Ric Flair was that guy entertaining, right? Yeah. Like he was the showman. He was the guy doing everything. He this is hard.
Yeah,
this is very
because again, if I didn't see those matches with Ricky Dragon, Steamboat, and Harley Race and Sting, like those early iterations of Ric Flair when he was really going, like I can't ignore that. And I'm just like, because honestly, before I got here, the Undertaker's ring work, I was like, it's Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
It's Undertaker hands down. Think about the matches and ability to work with multiple guys and stuff like that, and just have that in-ring ability. I'm like, even without the promos, Undertaker was a guy that didn't need the promo. Like the gimmick was the
had the mystique. He had all of it. He didn't have to say much at all.
Entering the arena in terms of just the gong hitting and him walking out, the coat, the entrance, even with Paul Bearer, you think about that, like him coming to the ring. All of that mystique of the Undertaker, like it still sits there. And then you look at Ric Flair. When you hear that, dun, 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 like him coming to, he's the man. Like that's I can't. Yeah. I think I'm gonna go Ric Flair. He's the man. When you think about the man, I just the man.
I'm going Taker. That's fine.
Oh, so I gotta be the tiebreaker. All right,
go Ric Flair.
All right,
I hate it, and I hate it.
I don't know. I just think the streak in itself alone, to me, is bigger than what Flair, like the titles that Flair won.
Yeah, that's how I feel too, because I feel like Undertaker, even though he doesn't have the title reigns, his character being the character is what made it. Like Ric Flair was the top guy, but outside of that, it was kind of like if he wasn't the top guy, it was kind of like weird, right? Like
I know you got to the point.
You can't picture him working anywhere else like tag team or anything like that. Undertaker had some tag team reigns. Like Undertaker had tag teams. Undertaker did all that. Like worked various points of the card. Like
and to think this man was literally on every WrestleMania for 20 years. Literally on every single WrestleMania for 20 years. Like how do you top that?
I think
Yeah, see, a lot of interesting thoughts. But I think I'm gonna just go with what my my brother told me.
No, think for yourself, Brian.
He said, look at their top five. Look at both of their top 5 matches.
Mm-hmm.
And then based upon that, describe how you felt watching both sets of their best matches, and then however you feel, whichever one you're more into, that's the
then guy. You know what? Let's save this for next week then, because I literally didn't do that, so I have to do that.
If that's the analysis we're going on, it's Undertaker. If we're talking, if it comes down to
I think I'd say Taker, but
if you're going to in-ring ability, it is the Undertaker.
Well, wait a minute. In-ring ability? In-ring ability, you have to go with the Undertaker?
Let's say this. I'm going to say this. This is what I'm saying.
Wait a minute. Hold up.
Sean
the ability can't. Let's just be real here. Could Kurt Angle work? Could Ric Flair work with Kurt Angle?
I mean, they work together, but
yeah, it's not gonna be no top tier match, though.
I'm just saying, I love Ric Flair, but in terms of technical ability and the ability to do certain stuff in the ring, yes, he's gonna have a classic with Bret Hart, which he did before he dropped the belt at multiple times, and I believe he dropped it in '92 to Bret Hart before leaving. Like he's gonna have good matches with those guys, but epic encounters like WrestleMania 24 versus Shawn Michaels, right?
Yeah.
Is that the same as Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels? No. And that's a completely different stage of Ric Flair's career. I understand that. But the epicness of the WrestleMania match, 25 and 26 that Taker had, I gotta go Undertaker if it's in-ring ability. The ability to just work with multiple guys, different type of guys of that level. And I'm not saying that Ric Flair didn't face his behemoths. He's wrestled Big Show. He's wrestled Vader when Vader was going in WCW, early Vader. All those guys with size, Lex Luger. People forget about early Lex Luger and stuff like that. The Four Horsemen and stuff like that. The Von Erichs, fucking everybody. But just in-ring ability, I'm just going to go Undertaker. If it's in-ring ability and I'm looking at what matches were presented towards me.
It's the total package, Dan.
Because that promo, again.
Exactly, but again, like you said, the promo work of Ric Flair, I mean, if we're talking about what we look for in a superstar, it's the ability to connect with the audience.
But can you apply that to Taker though? Like, can you apply that to Taker though? Because he's literally the Undertaker.
Exactly, because of the
character.
Yeah,
this man literally didn't have to say nothing for 20 years.
That's my whole point.
He's like 6'8", fucking dressed in black. Like, what else does he have to say? I'm going, because for me that Shawn Taker match is just like
it's the best match all time.
It's this man literally almost died that night with that dive, and to think somebody that large being that versatile, it's like baffling.
All right, so you're both going Taker?
Yeah, I'm probably going to lean Taker for in-ring ability of Ric Flair's pizzazz. There's millions of people that try to copy him. Kane basically had an adjacent career of the Undertaker, but he's still not the Undertaker. There's nobody that can be the Undertaker.
Yeah,
nobody. Even Kane, his brother, who basically the adjacent gimmick is, couldn't be the Undertaker. As dominant, as cool as I thought Kane was, couldn't be the Undertaker. There's people out there with robes. There's people out there that can cut promos.
Glorious.
That's Robert Roode. Like, there's nobody that's the Undertaker. There's nobody
MJF right now.
Which actually makes Ric Flair, which actually you kind of just made Ric Flair seem even more greater for the by what you just said. Because nobody can duplicate the Undertaker. All these guys duplicate Ric Flair. Again, an innovator. So just by the fact that you said that pretty much makes the point that Ric Flair should be the pick here.
But that's the thing, Ric Flair's is like the robe is so simple that anybody in this day and age can do it. Who's really gonna try and pull
he took that
a
from
character?
Buddy Rogers. He took that from other people as well. So like that, like his whole stick with that is not originally his.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't the other dude wore robes? What was his name? He had blonde hair. He was huge. He fucking had
Billy Graham.
Yeah.
Star Billy Graham or Jesse.
Didn't he have robes too?
Which, by the way, since we mentioned Billy Graham, he did pass away today.
Oh, he did? I know he was on the ventilator.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, they took him off life before he passed away today.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. Sad.
Yeah, I'm going Taker.
I mean, I gotta go Ric Flair, man. I just can't. Like I said, like the point that Daniel just made kind of just cemented it for me. The fact that so many people try to duplicate this man because that shows how great he was. That everybody tries to duplicate it, but they always fall short.
Yeah, I don't know I think if we would have done that, like literally watch Flair's top 5 and Taker's top 5, I'd probably have a more clear, concise. But I think it's because I've seen more Taker than Flair that I'm like. But I've seen a lot of Ric Flair as well. But not like Dan. I didn't watch all his old. Like I've seen him and Ricky Dragon matches, but like the other matches, like with Devon Erickson and stuff like that, I didn't really see those. So, but then it's like, I don't know. It's crazy how literally decades of wrestling, and it's like so much.
All right,
this could have been the GOAT. This could have been the GOAT conversation. This could have been the GOAT, right? Like these are two guys that should have been the GOATs, right? But it's like they ended up on the same side of the bracket, so we have to make a choice. Woo!
Yeah. So what are you picking then? You going Taker?
All right, it's your call.
I'm gonna go.
It like hurts to even say it.
I'm gonna go Undertaker.
And then that's just been broken. Oh God!
Bong.
I'm going Undertaker.
Bong.
When I think about, I love Ric Flair's matches, but the ability of the Undertaker to just work with anybody and be able to put on 5-star classics. Those matches with Shawn Michaels are legendary. The streak matches are in my mind. I still think about WrestleMania 17 when he faced Triple H, 23 when he faced Batista. I guess this is just recency bias because of just how great Taker was at those stages. And it's just like, He's also won the Royal Rumble. Like, he's done those things that Ric Flair has done. He doesn't have the title reigns as Ric Flair, but that character is one of a kind. Like, we've seen people imitate Ric Flair. We've seen people duplicate, try to beat Ric Flair, try to be that promo guy. Probably couldn't cut it. We've seen guys probably match him on the mic and stuff like that. But The Undertaker, we've seen people try to do dead gimmicks. Bray Wyatt, for instance, The Fiend, like, that's not going to be The Undertaker. It's not. Like, Kane is not going to be The Undertaker. Vampiro, all these other demon characters, they're not The Undertaker. And to get that over for an extensional part, like how long that was, I'm going to lean The Undertaker. I can't. Everything is leaning towards The Undertaker for me. Yeah, I'm going Undertaker.
Okay. That's his room. 2-1.
I'm going Undertaker. Damn it. I'm going. All right.
Damn it, Flair got screwed.
How? It's The Undertaker.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Let's move on to our next matchup.
Trying to sound like Bobby Heenan.